Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hypecast mit Tom Reimann und David Bell.
Oh, man, I'm so old. I'm so goddamn old. I'm really feeling it today.
No.
Yeah, it's really getting to me, man.
No, you're a kitten.
Walking around the house with a baby.
Yeah.
Looking at Christmas trees and being like, I gotta put that up and decorate that.
Yeah.
That's my responsibility now.
It's your life now.
I have to do all of these things for this baby. To
You're
make sure her
Christmas
holidays
trees
are
now?
magical.
Yeah.
No, I did them before, but it's like now all the pressure's on me to make
Right.
holiday memories.
Well,
Yeah.
the baby's not going to remember this one, so
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
it's
she
a
will. That
practice
sounds like a dare.
they only remember trauma. So just make sure you instill some trauma. It's all pre-verbal at this point.
Yeah, you know. You say arson, I say fireworks. Hello everyone.
Hello.
We're on an episode of Hypecast.
Hypecast.
It's a show where we get hyped about stuff and things. I'm your co-host Tom Ryman.
I am your other co-host, David Bell.
And I'm Rich Kuras.
Rich.
Hey.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
Doing pretty well. I just realized that I had no idea how to pronounce your last name.
You've never pronounced my last name?
I've never heard it said.
Say it again.
Kuras.
Kuras.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would guess. I'm reading it, and I'm like, that's, yeah.
I was thinking
Kuras.
Kuras.
Most people would emphasize
Kuras,
the ass
Kuras.
part or something like
Yeah.
Kuras.
Kuras.
I've heard. Yeah. I've gotten a range of topics, but I
Yeah, I don't know. I
I
worked with Rich for a few years at Ranker. No idea how his name was pronounced.
It's like one of those words when you see something written and then it's like I remember I used to see the word briefly spelled and it would like just throw me off completely. I'd be like, Bryfly?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I write for a living, and there are certain words that I simply will not be able to spell on the first try, ever.
Yes.
You know, that's just, it's just beyond me. And they're not complicated words. They're just, I don't know what. They just, nope, not going to do it. Not going to work with my brain.
Similar always gets me.
Yep.
And unnecessary. Yep. I psych myself out on both of those words every time.
Ideology. I always kind of, I look at it. There's words that you look at and you go like, that can't be right? That's not how you spell it, is it? It's not saying anything. It's not saying I spelled it wrong, but like, surely it's playing some sort
surely
of
this
trick
is wrong.
on me.
Yeah.
Spelling.
Won't some adult please come in the room and tell me if this is right?
Yeah, thank God for spell check.
I don't believe the spell check in this case. Yeah,
I don't believe it's a liar sometimes. I think. I don't know. Do you ever have to you can set your spell check to British so it spells everything wrong, or it does the stupid.
That's a fun game to play with yourself. It's a fun challenge.
Yeah.
Commas everywhere.
Yeah.
A lot of extra U's.
Yeah, the fucking
extra
U's. Get it together, England.
Yeah. Nice way to challenge yourself at the beginning of the week. I got to scrape all the British out of this doc now.
Rich, thank you so much for being on. at the start of this, do you want to tell the world anything? You want to, like, you have like something to plug? That's normally what people do, or like a manifesto, or like a statement, like a riddle. Do you have anything you want to tell the world?
I'd actually like to promote Come to Cheesus. That's my new channel that I just launched on YouTube. I focus on cheese, as you could guess, but also food and drink. Topics could range from Parmesan to Brazilian foods to why is absinthe so dangerous? And in honor of that, I'm actually drinking some absinthe tonight.
Nice.
Or today. So
not your favorite, but what's the best cheese?
If I like a style of cheese, I would go like Alpine cheeses. Why not?
Alpine cheeses.
You're right. And they're all fun to say. You got like Hallerhacker and Max 365 and Alpenblumen.
All right.
And it's just like a watching like the sound of music for your mouth.
These all sound like Blade Runner characters.
Yeah, I guess I was going to ask if you like movies, and that was going to expertly pivot us into getting started. But we also have to thank some producers, so let's do that.
True.
Let's
segue. Let's jump into that.
All right. Big old thank you to @NermNumbers. Was glad to talk wrestling with Dave and Jeff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to Zero Charisma.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to 2001: A Space McNulty Odyssey.
Thank you.
Thank you to A Fart So Polite It Scratches Your Asshole as It Takes Flight.
Solid
Sounds
fart.
polite.
Good fart, yeah.
Thank you to A Man with a Plan in the Back of a Van.
It's a British
you guys
fart,
and your
like
rhyming.
a kindly British, like Mary Poppins fart.
Yes.
But thank you, Man with a Plan in the Back of the Van.
Thank you. Thank you to Aaron Burser.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to AJ.
Thank you.
Thank you to Andrew. Rich deserves more hype, McGuire.
Hey, thank you. All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Andrew Howe demands a single act of kindness.
Thank you.
Thank you to Asking Seven.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ballet Karate Hulk.
Thank you.
Thank you to BIT22 EWHVIS-B.
Thank you, Robot.
Thank you to Bootler Bootlesson.
Thank you.
Thank you to Brian, who Tom knows.
Yep.
Thank you to Brockway Loves the Meat Millie.
Thank you.
And thank you to Burrito Says Water, Gym, Sunscreen, Kung Fu, Ska, Self-Care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Gosh.
All right.
Movies. Movies, Dave.
Movies. 28 years later is our first trailer. They skipped months, didn't they?
They did. They went right past months and straight into years.
They fucked that up.
Yeah.
They could also do a prequel like 20, I don't know, minutes later.
Yeah, seconds. Really get granular with it.
Yeah, fuck it. It's Alex Garland and it's Danny Boyle back to make the third. Did they do the second one?
I don't remember.
Like they didn't. That felt like they didn't have like.
I remember the second one not being as...
they didn't do it. It's not
I remembered it not being as good, but I also remember Jeremy Renner getting set on fire in a very funny scene.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
But this is like 28... So 28 Days Later was, in fact... It is Garland and Danny Boyle. Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they're back. Awesome trailer. Awesome trailer.
Yeah, that was a pretty sweet trailer, actually, which was surprising for me because I'm so burned out on zombies.
For me, this isn't really a zombie movie. It's more of like Alex Garland is almost always a hit with me.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle is a good director, and so I'm like, I'm doing it for them, really.
And the other thing is I'm not a fan of this franchise. Like, I didn't particularly care for 28 Days Later, and I didn't like 28 Weeks Later really at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I like Danny Boyle and Alex Garland separate from 28 Days Later, and this trailer is really dope. So,
and it's got Ray Fiennes in there.
Did 28 Days Later really kick? Did it kind of kick off the revival of zombie films?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I think it kicked off.
It was
whether or not it's the first one, but it kicked off Fast Zombies, right?
Yeah.
Too. And the idea, what I think interested people was that idea that you could become a zombie in like 30 seconds. That was scary to people. I'm kind of in the same camp as you, Tom, where I appreciated that first movie, but I was sort of burnt out at the time of zombies. Like, it was already like Fast Zombies didn't really revitalize it in my head, you know?
like Dawn of the Dead was right around the same time as well. I remember the big thing at the time, at least as I remember, that was sort of buzzy or interesting about 28 Days Later was that it was sort of like an art house zombie movie. Like it was a really unexpected way to do a zombie movie from like Danny Boyle, who's this, Oscar winning or nominated
I don't
director.
know if he was at the time though.
Did Slumdog Millionaire win anything?
Well, 28 Days Later, I think, is what put him on the map, right?
No, it's
Am I wrong about
Trainspotting.
that? Oh yeah, it is Trainspotting.
Yeah.
You're right. But like, he was still seen as like kind of an indie director, I thought.
Yeah,
'Cause
as in my
yeah.
memory anyway.
Yeah, he had done The Beach, but then the big thing after that was 28 Days Later. So like, I'm just saying, like, I guess what's exciting about this one is that he has now earned that, like, that I am the Oscar-winning, like he was still like a scrappy up-and-comer when 28 Days Later came out, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
I'd say so. Like, he'd only had, like, was The Beach a hit?
Not really. It was a critical hit.
Yeah.
I think it sort of. Well, I actually don't even think it was a critical hit. It had a cult following, though. I remember that.
Yeah.
People sort of
He had, for
discovering
the
it on
record,
video.
Yeah, for the record, he had done tons of things at that point. I just think in terms of hits, it was like Trainspotting.
You're right.
The
Like
Beach
as I'm
and then this.
thinking of like his notable movies, they're all post 28 Days Later. So yeah, maybe you're right.
I think Slumdog is what put him on the map as like, this guy is like...
Yeah,
can make,
that was like later in the aughts. Anyway.
But I think it's the same. Well, it's the same with Alex Garland, right? Where it's like Alex Garland, when he wrote 28 Days Later, it wasn't like, he wasn't really a name, right? He made a name for himself later as a director. So that's all to say, like, I'm excited about the fact that they will have probably way more creative control than they did the first time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I would think so. And also just more projects under their belt,
Yeah.
Like, I didn't love Civil War, but I'm still on board with Alex Garland.
Yeah, I mean, I've liked most of the things he's done, so.
Yeah.
Ex Machina, he wrote Devs, Annihilation, Men, which, is sort of mixed on that. Sunshine, which is also sort of mixed.
Also Danny Boyle.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like,
And
I don't know, they're a good
Dread
team.
was Alex Garland.
Dread, yeah, and like you think about Dread, it wasn't an Alex Garland film, right? Like,
No.
now this one has his name all over it because they know that it's like, yeah, this guy draws a crowd. It is not, by the way, Cillian Murphy.
No,
in
he's
this
not
film.
in it at all.
He's not that zombie.
Everybody, that fucking zombie. So everybody said the same thing. They're like, is that Cillian Murphy? I thought so too. And they're saying it isn't. Maybe they're liars. But like another actor came out and said like, no, it's me. So, yeah, I was curious about that too. Is he supposed to be in it?
I don't think he is.
Well, yeah, not seeing him credited. That would be cool though.
Yeah, he popped up, like he pops up at the end with an eye patch.
Yeah, why not?
Is he in the second one, I'm assuming? I haven't seen the second one.
No, he's not,
He
actually.
is not.
Okay.
Second one has some moments, but it wasn't like amazing. I don't know. I'm mostly excited. Like the trailer got me pumped, and then Ray Fiennes.
Man, Ray Fiennes is doing a whole thing.
It's amazing.
He's
Like I just watched
post-apocalyptic barbarian leader. Ray
I just
Fiennes.
watched Conclave, where he's like this old gentleman. this
Right, there's
pope-
like 5
this pope
popes.
manager.
So many
Yeah.
popes in that movie.
And then seeing this, I'm like, oh man, he's like fucking Mad Max in this.
I love how
very
many
excited
different
about it.
Ray Fiennes there are.
There's a whole
spectrum of Ray Fiennes, a rich
Is it-
tapestry.
Yeah,
Is it the same Ralph? Ray Fiennes?
yeah. I
Are
mean,
there other versions of him?
there's the painting eating version.
Yeah,
There's the
Nazi version.
Yep, there's
There's-
Twee Wes Anderson.
There's the Twee
version.
Wes Anderson. Yeah, there's the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah,
There's the Voldemort
got-
version.
yeah. There's the, yeah. He's M. in
He's
James
M.
Bond.
Yeah, yeah.
He gets around, man.
One of
And
my
he's
favorite
this-
films of his is Strange Days.
Strange Days is an excellent movie.
Oh, yeah. He also doesn't seem to be
And
fast.
that's dirty scumbag Ray Fiennes. That's another type of Ray Fiennes in Strange Days.
So yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I wasn't pumped about the first one. The second one was whatever. This one, I think it's just the trailer. Like,
it's a good
the trailer is really well made. I'm like, I guess I want to see this. I'm really pumped for this.
And The Walking Dead, correct me if I'm wrong, is like essentially took that plot of like, oh, you just woke up and from something like a coma or whatever, and then the whole world.
I don't know what's first because it was a comic book, right? So I'm like, I don't know.
Yes, oh man, I think the comic did come out after 28 Days Later.
Okay, yeah, I would believe that. I'm not a huge Walking Dead fan. I mean, it's fine.
But you're right. I had forgotten. That's also how 28 Days Later starts.
It's a hard show to watch because every episode is like the same, where it's like, hey, they're in some version of a fort or a base, and they're like, all right, I'm going to go out, and someone's like, I'm going to join you. You're like, no, you're not. Yes, I am. Then they go out, and then the person who goes out with them saves them. And then they come back, and that's like every episode.
Yeah, it's the Gilligan's Island problem where I'm like, I got through more of that The Walking Dead than most people, and I stopped when I was like, are they ever going to leave the woods? Like, have they thought to check the next state to see if the zombies are a problem over there? They're just in the same like square mile of woods killing each other, and it's just like, do something, like progress, find help. Like, are you like it felt like they forgot that there were zombies and they needed to find help from that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but I got pretty far into that. You want to talk about the Gorge?
Yeah, let's do it.
Unless there's any other thoughts on this one. This is the Gorge. It's a gorge. There's a gorge.
Man, there's a big ass gorge.
And Sigourney Weaver is like, Anya Taylor-Joy, you go guard that gorge.
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah. And don't talk to Miles Teller. He's on the other side of the gorge.
Dare talk to Miles Teller on the other side of that gorge.
Yeah. What's in the gorge? Evil.
You know. Yeah, they said, yeah, it's impossible to tell.
The mouth of hell.
If he's, because of the tone of this trailer, it's impossible to tell whether the character that tells Miles Teller that the gorge is the portal to hell is being figurative or literal.
Yes. And then they love each other across the gorge, but they're not allowed to talk to each other
because they're warring nations, man.
Are they warring?
She's like some sort of Eastern Bloc vagueness, and he's American boy.
This feels to me like a script. Yes. No, it feels like a script that was like a World War I script.
Yeah.
About two people who were lookouts on opposite sides.
Two snipers.
And then some producer just like did a fucking crash roll into the meeting and went like, what if it's monsters and sci-fi?
Yeah, it's the Key and Peele sketch.
Yeah.
I had written in the notes, like, this is 3 different movies, and the best one is the one that you just described, where it's two snipers on opposite ends of a really vast field starting to form a relationship through binoculars and just being bored.
Yeah, we mentioned Dawn of the Dead. It's the thing that they do in that.
Yeah.
In the remake. And then it's like, and it keeps going. Like I compared it to Rick and Morty because I felt like, you know, like when you see a comical trailer, like a fake trailer in a show, they show you way too much of the movie to extend the joke. That's what this does.
Yeah, sure does.
It keeps being like, and then he tries to go over the gorge, and then he falls in the gorge, and she goes after them, and the things come out of the gorge.
That feels like Act 3.
Yeah, and I was like,
right? That feels like a big,
much.
exciting reveal that they dump in the trailer is that he falls in and she jumps in after him.
Yeah,
I think this is the end of Act 1. I think the whole movie is in the gorge.
That might be interesting if they did that. Well, I still think the other movie. I still think doing the version of this movie without monsters is the one I would like better. But
because
maybe
you can
might
imagine,
be right.
We don't have the patience to have this relationship build up. Let's just do it through a few montages of them doing like dances for each other, you know, and stuff like that. Baking cakes is like, here's your birthday. and then they don't act on it, and he's like, well, I'm going to come over there for whatever, because, he has to spend a year alone, so he's just like, all right, let's get together. And then he falls in, and that's the movie, because she's like, really, I really like this guy, for some odd reason.
It definitely feels like it's a premise that's like, it's like scared to just be the one simple premise, right? It keeps adding stuff, like it's self-conscious. I have to note that it's from the people who made The Tomorrow War, a movie that also has this problem where it's like, you don't know when to quit, do you? Like you don't know when to just like simplify, where it's like you're doing 10 different premises, and it's like, it's frustrating to me because watching this trailer, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, we're still going. Okay,
we're still adding stuff. Still adding stuff. Okay.
Oh, we're still putting stuff in the stew.
Right. Now it's Skull Island.
Now you've made a weird stew. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you're thinking of it like, oh, it's like Sigourney Weaver going to rescue Newt, but it's actually them arriving at the Marine base. That's the movie.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's impossible to tell from this trailer if they're, like you said, giving stuff away, or like they're showing us this very elaborate setup. I think that would be a mistake if this is the first act, because again, the most compelling thing is like, let's get two good actors and have them flirt via signs. Bam.
Like you got old-fashioned sign romance.
Yeah, and sniper shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all you need. But I don't know. I mean, it's on Apple TV, so
it's coming to Apple TV, so
it's a movie. I will watch this. The problem is I will probably forget it exists and not watch it, and that's kind of a joint problem between me and Apple TV, like Pix 2.
This is beef between me and Apple TV.
Yeah, that's my question for both of you is what is Apple TV in terms of like credibility or like rankings? Like, would you? I mean, because to me, I'm like HBO's the creme de la creme, right?
At least when it was peaked, it was for sure HBO, and like that is Apple TV right now. Everybody says the same thing.
Seems to be up there,
yeah. They low key have these great shows. For me, Apple TV is like it's like a hole that every month I put an amount of money in, and it falls down the hole, and I say, well, I gotta keep putting money in the hole because my job is to like watch stuff. And that's what Apple TV is to me personally.
I have to make eye contact with Tom Hanks in that submarine movie as I drop my money into this hole.
Exactly. I did watch Severance, and I know everybody loves Severance. I am very suspicious of mystery box television. And I know that's not technically a mystery box, but that's another Gilligan's Island to me, which is like, ooh, are they going to get away? And it's like every season they're not gonna, are they? It's a Westworld situation, right? Where it's like, if they escape Westworld, then there's no show. So, like
they gave it a shot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, everybody's saying that there's no show. Well, what do you think of this?
Right, and it's like, well, if you had a plan there, that would have been. Yeah.
Is the agency, the Fassbender spy one, is that on Apple TV? Because I keep trying to watch that, but I'm watching it at the time where I'm about to fall asleep, so I have not been able to get into it.
They seem like they have a lot of good shows, and like they don't have to be amazing. Like Severance is fine, Like I'm not mad at Severance. It's just like Ted Lasso.
The therapy one with
Shrinking
with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, morning show. It's that like Godzilla one, Monarch. They got a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's like a multiverse situation with these streaming platforms where you look over and you go like, oh wow, they have a whole other thing going on.
Right. It is sort of like we keep bringing up the same touchstones, but it's like the Rick and Morty interdimensional cable episode.
Yeah, where you're like, this is a whole other.
Right, it feels like they all feel like alternate realities too.
Yeah, because
Harrison Ford is in a psychology sitcom with Jason Segel.
Because they only make 6 episodes a season every 4 years.
Yeah,
the Harrison Ford could be on every streaming service essentially if he wanted to be, with like alternate versions of shows.
Yeah, like Santa Claus, he can be everywhere. He's
by far the funniest person on that show. He's so good.
Anyway, the Gorge.
Yeah, the Gorge. Let's move on.
It looks fine. I'll watch it. I would watch this.
Yeah, the Tomorrow War was Boy, that movie sucked.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah, that was a tough one. That movie
and it's hard to know what went wrong there in the process.
felt like a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Cassandra. Cassandra.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is Netflix.
This is another scary AI Alexa house robot movie.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
would
in
argue,
German.
It is German.
It is
Inherently
German.
makes it 10% spookier.
Yeah. And this time the AI looks dumb.
Yeah.
The AI is ridiculous.
A similarly bold choice.
Yeah. Very Black Mirror, but
yeah.
lo-fi Black Mirror.
Yeah, and it might be very good. I want to dump on it. I'm just sick of what if the AI protecting your house actually traps you. Because I feel like they've made one of these once every month now.
We've been making them for a while too, starting back in like the mid-teens. But in fairness, this trailer is also very short. It's like 60 seconds maybe, and it just kind of establishes that this home has a dead mom. It's a dead mom family sitch.
Yeah.
And a home with a soul.
Yeah.
Right.
And she wanted them to have this robot house, and then the robot house is going to take over their lives. It's their scary new robot mom.
Yeah, I looked up the premise. The premise is Germany's oldest smart home awakens its AI helper after decades when a new family moves in.
Huh.
That sounds
the
way
AI
better than what I just said.
I know, and the AI is determined never to be abandoned again, and so it's trying to keep them there. It's desperate. That does sound better. I mean, that
how
makes
very
sense.
German.
Yeah,
It's a very lonely AI.
yeah. I get what that explains why it's like a weird retro, like futurism, right? This
Oh
idea
yeah,
of, like,
okay, yeah, that makes a
some
little. I thought they were
maniac
kind of going
made this
for like
smart
camp
home.
or something.
Right. I mean, it's still
Yeah, there's still going to be that element in there, but
right. It's still performing a world where someone in like the 50s made successful AI, and we haven't made successful AI. I'd argue, ever, like actual true artificial intelligence. I was just going through some more news script about AI art, and when you actually understand how it's made, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's really
it's just like an
simple, and it's not
aggregate,
magic. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, it's not magic at all. It's extremely simple, and there's no intelligence behind it. Got it. It's a lot of that. Yeah.
At least you can evaporate a lake to make that picture for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let's move on from the Gorge.
All right. Well, we're not on the
Tumble in
Gorge.
like
We're talking
Miles
about
Teller.
Cassandra.
Oh, right. From Cassandra.
Something you forgot instantly, it seems.
Yeah. Well, there was again the
I think
trailer's
it might be
very
good.
short. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about American Primeval, directed by Peter Berg, a Western miniseries. Peter Berg, who made
Friday Night Lights.
I was going to say
Copland.
Battleship.
Lone
Battleship.
Survivor.
Battleship.
Yeah.
There's something about Western series that I accept way more than Western movies, which is weird.
Really, I feel the opposite. Like I was more interested in this when I thought it was a movie.
Yeah, I was the opposite. Where I was like, ooh, it's a miniseries, like Lonesome Dove or some shit. And I got more into it. What is this about?
Well, it's definitely about some Mormons moving out west. There's a war coming.
Right.
Yeah, it's like Betty Gilpin is traveling out west to settle with her daughter. I think it's a dead husband sitch. I think this is a dead father family.
Mm-hmm.
Dane DeHaan's there. Taylor Kitsch is like her guide. Kim Coates appears to be the bad guy. I don't know. It looks not bad. I loved this crazy weird ass cast. I just was more into it as a movie than a miniseries.
Taylor, what's his name? Fucking
Kitsch.
Taylor
Kitsch. Yeah.
Taylor Kitsch, bless his heart. I have nothing against him, but they keep being like, will you accept this man as like an old-timey character? And I'm like, no, I do not.
Not yet.
Like John Carter,
Not
perhaps? I'm
yet.
like, no.
But Peter
Sorry.
Berg accepts him and puts him in everything.
Yeah. Right,
And-
he is in Battleship, huh?
And Friday
He's
Night
in
Lights.
Friday Night Lights.
Right.
Yeah, and Lone Survivor.
Right. And again, like,
I forgot
he seems
about
fine.
Lone Survivor.
And
he's also fucking Gambit. He's
Yep.
Gambit.
and the
He was a
OG
Gambit. He was one of the Gambits.
Yeah.
He was one of those guys where they're like, he's going to be the next big thing, and he kind of never panned out.
There's a few of that, yeah.
He had a bad
Which-
year. It was like Battleship
Yeah.
John Carter. Well, yeah. Yeah, Battleship John Carter and Savages all in the same summer.
Right, and he seems fine. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, he was good in
Cool to see
the
him here.
Waco one as David Koresh.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Betty Gilpin a lot. I mean, I like this cast. I like all these weirdos. They all tend to play weirdos.
Yeah. Peter Berg, by the way, not only always does Taylor Kitsch with most everything, he always uses the soundtrack as always Explosions in the Sky, if you know that band, which it's just like an American version of Sigur Rós, if you know them. So everything's like crescendo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if they're going to make another appearance in this one.
I don't know. That's such a weird habit. I don't know. Because Peter Berg doesn't strike me as a loud director. He's not like Tarantino, right? Where you're like, oh, yep, this is a Peter Berg film, all right.
Right.
But he does have like habits throughout that I just never picked up on.
He's got a vibe, definitely.
He's got a Bergy vibe.
Yeah, he's like Taylor Sheridan before Taylor Sheridan arrived.
I don't know. Where is this? Oh, shit. Sorry, I just looked up the writer. It's the writer of The Revenant and Overlord. So I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
they did advertise that in the trailer. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, and Twisters.
Sure.
It's a guy in
left that one off.
vacancy. It's a writer who's like, what do you want? You want smart? You want stupid? I got everything. I can do it all. And I appreciate that.
And it's got Kim Coates.
Yeah, we love Kim Coates here.
Yeah,
Character actor Kim Coates.
yeah, I'm into this.
Yeah.
It is like a bit of a, the mini series of it all. It's on the Netflix, so, it's a January Netflix dump mini series. Seems chill.
Yeah. I got nothing else to say, really.
Yeah, it definitely has that a large stroke of The Revenant in it. Just
Yeah,
vibe.
that sort of the bleakness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It doesn't look like a fun show.
No, always Westerns in this area, of this era, it's the same thought where I'm like, why are they even doing this? Like, just don't do this.
Do you mean the filmmakers or the characters?
The characters.
Yeah, like what are
the
you doing?
Concept.
Just stay
like
home.
We're going out in the west. Yeah, just
put
stay
the
on
wagon
coast.
away. Put the wagon away.
Yeah, what's the point? Just don't do it.
They really need fur pelts. So
Man,
Right. You gotta get
to
those
be
first
trapped
ones.
in a pelt-driven economy.
Terrible.
not as bad as a bullet-driven economy, which we'll get to.
Which we're going to get
we'll
to.
get to.
Oh, boy.
But first we have Lake George. This is a crime.
This is one of the most confusing trailers I've seen in a long time. First of all, it's very hard to look anything up about this movie because there is another movie called Lake George from
I
2024.
literally just did this, and I'm like, oh, this is. All right, I think I found it. Lake George. It's
Oh, go ahead.
kids.
I'm curious about
Oh,
this.
I don't know. It's kids trying to help their father who's in jail. Who they have to do a heist, or there's a heist that's went wrong, and their father is going to be killed in prison
Unless they
get 100K.
They got to sell like a bunch of drugs, I think. This feels like a movie made by a bunch of friends. Did you get that vibe?
It feels somewhat indie.
Yeah, well, more than indie, it feels like homemade to me.
I mean, it might be.
Like it feels real, like real amateur. It feels very amateurish.
Well, it's shot decently enough.
Yes, yeah.
they
But
have
like
all things.
the sort of the acting, the beats of the trailer, like the beats of the story that we get to see, all feel very, very amateurish to me.
Yeah, there's a trailer later that I want to talk about where I also get this vibe where you think like, is this just one guy with a lot of money?
Is this a Neil
because,
Breen?
again, yeah, well, it's not shot amateurish, meaning that like it's shot with lenses. You can tell.
Yeah.
It's shot with dollies. It's shot with
No,
lighting
it
equipment.
looks like a real movie, more or
right.
less.
You're just saying that it's like the group feels somewhat.
The acting feels that way. Like I said, the writing that we get to hear, the beats of the story that we get to see are very like cliche and seem like, like a teenager trying to write their first crime movie.
What confused me is the trailer really plays up who directed it.
Well, he's like the director, writer, producer, and star, right?
Is he? Well, that says a lot. Because, yeah, the trailer is like, and directed by, and I don't even remember his name because he's not
Castro.
a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not like a person that I like knew. And I was like, wait, is this, because I'm old. So I'm like,
sure.
all right, is this like some TikTok
We're some of the
star or
oldest
something?
people in the world.
Right, and maybe it is some TikTok star, but I just Googled him and I'm like, I think he just is an indie filmmaker,
Yeah. I wrote boo for you in the notes because this feels like bad Euphoria to me.
I don't know what Euphoria is and I refuse to learn, but I believe you.
I don't know. I don't know.
It looks fine.
Yeah.
Like I have nothing against it. It's just I get what you're saying, where it's like you can't quite tell. Where you're like, how indie is this? It's gone to festivals. It's obviously like it's on the IMDb. It's got
It just feels like so like everything is a trope, and they're not well executed tropes. It's I don't know. Something about this really felt like some of the movies that we've covered, like that poker movie where it's all filmed in what is clearly the director's parents' house.
Oh yeah.
Not that this looks
higher
that
budget
way.
than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that this looks that way. It's just kind of the vibe I was getting from it. Anyway, it just.
Well, yeah, it's just like, hey, I like the cocaine from this movie, so I'm going to put it in here. Yeah. You've got, our dad or brother or whatever it is in prison, and he's got 24 hours to get $100,000 randomly. So, it's just like, okay.
It's definitely indie. The budget that I found was $2 million, and that makes sense. And for that, it looks good, I'd say. But it like I think what you guys are kind of circling is that it's sort of like shooting a little above its means. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's doing a little too much for a like, if you're making an indie film, you want to keep it kind of simple, and it's sort of this feels like a complex crime action movie, and maybe it can't quite pull that off yet. I don't know.
Right, because they're showing the guy going into prison, like at the end, like who's like kind of the guy on the outside, and it's like, oh, is he going into prison to save his dad? Kind of like a Jack Reacher situation.
Yeah, I think that is what's happening.
Really?
I don't know.
I thought he was just getting processed.
Oh, see, I got the vibe that he was like whatever they couldn't get the money, so he's going into specifically. I don't know how this prison deal works, where the guy has to get $100K. Or else he'll kill him.
He's in jail with some people he ripped off while he was on the outside, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
Classic.
Well, that sounds fair then.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Shouldn't have stolen their money.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about something that's definitely indie. Extremely unique dynamic. This is a meta comedy about two friends who make a movie about two friends making a movie about two friends making a movie. It's that.
Yep.
Yeah. Which I don't know. It gets a lot of good reviews, and so I'm like, oh, I bet this is pretty good. But it's just an exhausting premise.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear what you guys thought, because for me, this trailer was a bit of a roller coaster. Like, it started out super obnoxious, then I got into it, then I got really into it, and it kind of seems really sweet.
Yeah.
And then it gets a little bit more obnoxious towards the end, but then it kind of ends on like, oh, I'm into this, and it seems kind of sweet. Like, this is such an interesting idea for a movie and a really big swing. I hope it's good.
I do too. That's what, like, it's directed by three guys and or no, not three guys, two guys and one lady. Yeah.
It's actually directed by the pizza place.
Yeah. like it I got the same, like, basically my vibe is just that the trailer was kind of obnoxious.
Yeah.
And the premise and the characters seem very charismatic, and like it's probably a very fun movie.
Yeah,
that's where I landed.
To me, it was just like, oh, I saw it, and as soon as like I see them doing like the pot scene, I'm like, oh, I feel like we've overdone the smoking pot, and just being like, oh, okay, we've seen it, and then it becomes like, oh, we're so self-aware that we're going to become aware that we're aware that we're aware, and it just seems like very convoluting. And every time they'd have a joke, I'm like, maybe I'm not the demographic, or maybe I'm just a cynical bastard, but I'm like, none of those jokes hit at all. It just felt like wah wah kind of jokes.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't
can
feel
see
the
that.
comedy that much, but
it was. Yeah, I think it's. I do get what you're saying. I was really vibing with it.
And again, it has nothing but good reviews. It's also only an hour and change. It's an hour 13, and I'm like, that's nice.
Yeah. It would be difficult to sustain this premise for very long. I don't know the two leads. I've not seen them before.
Neither have I.
But I liked them in this trailer, even though, like I said, it starts out obnoxious, but then I sort of get into kind of what I think, or at least from the vibe of the trailer, sort of what the movie is, and kind of like the tone of the movie. And then it was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. It's indie comedy drama, and it's hard to be mad at.
It is extremely twee.
Yeah, but for me, I'm like, I hope it finds an audience, and I hope people enjoy it. There was parts in the trailer that I enjoyed, parts that I didn't. It's more of the broad ideas, I think, very charming. But yeah, I don't know. It looks good. It looks fine.
At the very least, I'm more. I'm gonna always pull more for a big swing or a big interesting idea, as opposed to the movie we just talked about.
Exactly, and indie comedy is like personal indie comedy is, I think, also very reliant on the audience, and like where like I really liked that movie Theater Camp because I went to a theater school, and I was like, oh, and so did this person. This person clearly also went to a theater camp or school, and they know all the jokes. And it's, I think, I'm just I'm never going to be mad at something this personal. You know what also seems like a really personal story? Old Guy. Next one. The sequel to Old Boy, I assume.
Old Guy.
This is
going to be all him, like, just tongueless in the wilderness.
This doesn't look necessarily bad. And then I looked up who made it. But my first impression was, because this seems like it's a quality budget, has actors, but I was like, why is it being advertised like a direct-to-DVD film? And it feels like it was made and then didn't find a
distributor?
Yeah, that's the vibe I got from it. Because it is, the director is Simon West, who is
the director of Con Air.
Con Air, The General's Daughter, Tomb Raider.
The General's Daughter.
Yeah. He makes movies.
He
made
does.
The Mechanic.
Man, with a capital M movies. Yeah. And The Mechanic, both capital M's.
And it's Christoph Waltz and Lucy Liu.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
I feel like we're we're in like the height of like Hitman kind of genre right now as well. Like, even saying like The Old Man with Jeff Bridges is like kind of like it's another old guy trying to teach the new kid or whatever on the block. It just feels like...
we like old guys kicking ass right now.
But I do think that is this maybe is a suffering from the oversaturation, right? Yeah. Where I can see them being like, okay, so I have a plot for you. It's about a hitman, but he's kind of old, and he has to team up with a young guy, and he don't understand each other, and we already made it, and it costs a lot of money, so please buy it. And everybody's like, yeah, we already have like 10 of those.
We have a bunch of those.
Yeah, I'm getting too old for this assassination shit.
Yeah. Because it begins, like, I rolled my eyes, it began with him in The Doctor. And it's like, look, it's a hitman in The Doctor. And I'm like, yeah, we just did that one with Dave Bautista, right?
Yeah, the
like,
Bautista one, yep.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is like, for that genre, this looks fine. Where
Yeah,
I'm like,
it looks
I bet,
funny.
I bet
Christoph
this
Waltz
fun.
is I haven't seen him in a movie in a while, like personally.
Yeah.
I like that Cooper Hoffman is continuing to be in movies.
What is that?
Who is Cooper Hoffman?
He's Philip Seymour Hoffman's brood.
I was
Oh, wow.
wondering.
He's the kid
is
from
it Dustin Hoffman's
Licorice Pizza.
Oh, good for him.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, it's like it really is to me. This one, I'm like, oh, this seems fun. Too bad there's 10 of these right now.
Right.
It just has that Netflix.
It looks
comedy.
a little like a comedy version of the Stallone Antonio Banderas movie Assassins, because
Yeah.
I think like they're pairing him up with Cooper Hoffman, but they also are hinting that like. They're not hinting it. The trailer goes like, oh, they're getting rid of all of us old guys. So like he has to go team up with his old friends to take out the organization with all their new killers. So I think Cooper Hoffman's going to be a bad guy.
Yeah, he's going to be secretly.
Yeah, he's going to be trying to kill him. Yeah.
He's the bad guys getting trained, but they bond along the way. Then they become friends, and he helps them take out.
Yeah,
the bad
it's
guys.
like a Looper thing, right? Where it's like you train with this guy and then kill him. Like you have to.
Yeah,
kill
I mean it's. You said he made the mechanic. I mean, minor spoilers for the mechanic, but something very similar happens in the end of the mechanic.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Maybe this movie is great. It's just. It's hard, man, because like I bet everybody made this idea at the same time.
I think a
Now
lot of
they're
these
all
were
pouring
greenlit at
out.
the same time. Yeah.
I've said this every time there's one of these where it's like maybe this is the best one. I don't know if I'll ever.
And I'm
find
just not
out.
going to watch it.
Yeah,
I might
and that's
watch
a
it. I
shame.
like Christoph Waltz is a big, a real tantalizing offer for me. More so
And
than
usually-
like Batista, because I see Batista in a lot of action comedies.
the shots of him at the club. I'm like, well, that's delightful.
Well, yeah, obviously
Yeah.
I need to see this. I
Yeah.
want to see Christoph Waltz do a little bit of John Wicking.
Yeah, he's such a weirdo. He's got that weird
Yeah,
energy.
he's like a weird little freak. I love him.
Yeah, it's so good.
He's almost like
Obviously,
Tim
I
Roth's
could
dad.
do a John Wick.
Tim Roth,
if you
yeah.
wanted me to do
Yeah.
a John Wick.
Like he could do a movie with like Christopher Walken and Nicolas Cage and like Willem Dafoe, and it's just like all the guys that you like, but you kind of like they're fucked up, right? Like what's like all the weirdos, you know? Crispin
Yeah.
Glover will be there,
All the people that you love but would never really want to be in a locked room with.
right? Like they're not creeps, but they're just like a lot. They could make a movie called A Lot. These guys are a
These
lot.
guys are a lot.
They're a bit much.
Just call it big faces.
Big faces.
Real big faces.
Directed by Lars von Trier. Fuck it. All right. Main event.
Main event.
The Last Ronin. The Last Ronin. This was on my more hype short list, obviously.
This movie.
This is an apocalyptic samurai movie based off a short. It doesn't have much in terms of like reviews, and when you look it up, you get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. But this is, what'd you guys think of this?
It's
man.
like Mad Max meets True Grit.
It is like that.
Yeah. Meets a local metal band's music video.
Yes.
Like
The worst thing about it is
a metal
the dub.
band's
That's the thing I have.
$300,000 music video.
Yeah.
Yeah, with voiceover from a guy who does ads for Lexus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of sync voiceover.
Yeah.
The voiceover dub. It's so. Would you believe this is a Russian film?
Yes.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is a Russian Mad Max, basically, which is as fucked up as you'd imagine. And yeah, it's just, it's like this big slab of beef man in a hood, just with fun bullets.
It's like old grizzled Slender Man. It's like Slender Man in retirement with a beard. He's a very tall, thin brute. This guy,
I'm trying to figure out how
a
people
narrow
can watch it.
beefcake, if you will.
I think so. It's got it's got a name. Its actual Russian name is something I couldn't fucking possibly pronounce. It's spelled Posledniy, Ronin.
It's Peter.
It's Peter? Peter Ronin?
Peter Ronin.
So if people want to look it up, that's where you'll actually like see it. And there's like bullet crowns and just weird little freaks.
See the
and a robot dog.
there's a gun mummy, a
Right.
There's
gummy.
a gun mummy.
Bullets
Yeah.
are the currency of this future, but also our main guy kills people with a sword
Yeah, he's a rebel.
because he's awesome.
Yeah. The main currency is either a 9mm or an AK-47, so
and
that's
I
like
think
the $5 and the $10 bill.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
It's yeah.
dystopian.
The exchange
the-
rate there is pretty steady.
Oh, it's terrible
is the
exchange rate.
villain also the villain in Hardcore Henry? It might. I don't know. It's another blonde, very blonde guy.
Oh yeah, that narrows
That
it
was
down.
also a German film, right?
Hardcore Henry? No,
I thought it was. I'm not German.
No,
Sorry,
Russian. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is also Russian. I'm just thinking it might be. I don't know.
The coincidences are too much to ignore.
There's just this guy who's like aggressively blonde in this trailer,
Yeah.
and I think he.
Odds
might-
are he's the only blonde person in Russia, so you're probably right.
Yeah, it's possible, but yeah, and I don't know. This looks just fucking nuts. Like I'm counting the days until I can watch
Right.
this fucking. I feel
This
like
is
we've
this is
undersold it.
This is a Friday night movie night.
Yeah,
movie
there's
for sure.
again, there's a
Like
robot
this.
dog, and it doesn't look bad. The CGI looks all right, and there's a guy just doing action scenes with a sword, and it's mostly the desert. And there's
Like they
Mad
don't
Max
they
style
don't
masks.
quite have enough money for sets,
Yeah, and they don't need it.
but plenty of money for swords and bald hulks and trench coats.
Yeah,
Plenty of
People
desert
definitely got
money,
hurt
a lot of
making
desert
it.
budget.
Yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
looks like the lead singer from like Midnight Oil.
yeah. It man, it's got that great quality where it's like, yeah, just a little indie, but it's trying to be really cool,
Yeah,
and it's like,
real
yeah,
real edgelord.
but like the gun mummy looks good. The masks look
Gun
good.
mummy looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But I would say it's very cool in Russia. It's just like that's their John Wick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is Russian John Wick.
I mean, I'm shitting my pants over the moon with excitement for this film. So
It's gonna be fucking fantastic.
yeah.
It's called the Last Ronin.
No,
The
I'm
last one.
scrawling hash marks into my wall,
Yeah,
counting the days until this releases.
no more Ronins after this guy.
Yeah, he's the last one. You can tell though
Yeah.
he's killed them all with his sword.
Oh yeah, he definitely has.
You definitely don't want to use your bullets because that's currency. So he's saving
Exactly,
it up for like
yeah.
a
He's-
like a
he's
Thanksgiving ham or something like that.
He's building a nest egg.
Yeah, he's got a retirement plan.
I got a stack of ammunition I'd like to
Wow.
retire to the mountains on.
I am a millionaire because I have a full magazine for an AK-47.
Do you guys? I think that's it for trailers.
I think we're all set with trailers. Yeah, we did it.
Let's thank some more producers then.
Let's do it.
Big old thank you to buy Jason Pargin's highly controversial new book. I'm starting to worry about this black box of doom out now.
Thank you.
Thank you to Chester's Prophet.
Thank you.
Thank you to Christopher Robert Sparks Esquire.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Dan Hackroyd.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dave Ruff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to David
Knife Boot.
Henson. Thank you to Deborah's Awesome, Barbara is Great, and Cancer Can Go to Hell.
Thank you.
Thank you to Dracula, the bus driving vampire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Driftless thinks he can dance like Barishnikov up Mount Everest.
Man,
Yeah, you
anybody
can.
could really. It's not that
Yeah.
hard.
Thank you to Exploding Runes.
Thank you.
Thank you to Funky J. Mostly comes out at night. Mostly.
Thank you. All right, let me jump in here. Thank you to Happy Holidays from their lead lawyer at Voorhees, Kruger, our drug dealer, keeper awayer.
Thank you.
Thank you to Heathcliff's helping handfuls.
Thank you.
Thank you to Highlander likes the way Tom says, pretty sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you to Impossible Worlds. We have your Swaim and release him for the cost of your subscription.
Thank you.
Thank you to Lieutenant Frank Drebin, Police Squad.
Thank you.
Thank you to Look Mime on a podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mackenzie Fuck Shuffling with Willem Dafoe's confusingly large dick Chill.
Thank you.
Thank you to Mercurial Oz.
Thanks.
Thank you to Mike the Lurker.
Thank you.
And thank you to Mongolian Throat Skanking.
Thank you. All right. Chris Evans is coming back to Avengers Doomsday.
Yep, because he's had a
Is he gonna play a
string
villain?
of embarrassing streaming movies.
I know. What's
Apple
going on
movies,
there?
And Netflix ones, too.
Yeah. Right.
Right? I
He
mean,
should-
like, Red One is in theaters now, but...
I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. He broke his brain somehow. Just do a thing. Do the Snowpiercer. Do some Snowpiercers.
Yeah, do another
on,
Knives
Evans.
Out, man.
Do some weird indie films. Be a Daniel Radcliffe about it. Don't go back. Don't play Dr. Doom's friend or something. Like, what do you? Or is he just gonna be like?
It's just going to be
Is it
Captain
just-
America again, I assume.
Are they gonna just be like, yeah, we go back in time, we get him?
Yep.
That's a shame. He had a great ending.
I mean, they're doing a multiverse already, right? Because Robert Downey Jr.
Right,
is going to
it'll
be
be-
Doctor Doom.
Yeah, it'll be what if he didn't do the thing he did.
Unless he does like the Hydra Captain America.
It's the thing where the one thing I was happy about with Marvel was they were finally killing off characters and ending stuff, and it's yeah, of course they didn't. Of course they found a way to bring it all back. They're not gonna. Nothing matters. No one dies.
No. I mean, that's comics, but yeah, also.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's
Endgame
not good
was-
storytelling. It's called Endgame.
Yeah, and it was genuinely pretty impressive how they
Yeah,
wrapped
I was
it all
you
up.
did it. You pulled it off, guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Take a bow.
What's the over-under then of Scarlett Johansson coming back then?
Oh, well, here's the thing. I don't think she needs them.
They had a
I think
they had a pretty messy, acrimonious
Sure.
blow up over Black Widow.
Yeah.
I think they are asking her every day.
Right.
I just don't think she's going to come back. I think she is off doing her stuff, being in Fly Me to the Moon, hit film Fly Me to the Moon.
Apple
No, I mean
TV.
she's doing fine.
Yeah, we don't need to be worried about Scarlett
she's in a
Johansson.
Jurassic World. She's in the next Jurassic World. for better or for
See,
worse.
yeah, good thing she kicked that previous franchise to the curb.
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe it'll take a few Jurassic Worlds and she'll be like, all right, Marvel, what's up? What are you up? You up, Marvel? What are we doing?
What are your feelings about Robert Downey Jr. being Doctor Doom? Because I talked to a comic guy and he was furious about it. And I was like, oh, I thought it was cool initially, but I'm like, oh, okay. He's just very angry about it.
It's
I think they could spend that money on that $100 million it's going to take to bring them back. Pay your effects artists more.
yeah, or man, cast somebody new and interesting. It was just such a I don't in a vacuum I'd be happy with that's an awesome casting, but it's it was such a weird decision. It's so stagnant creatively. It's same guy,
Right.
okay.
It was so-
Why wouldn't I don't know, it just it's such a
It's so
weird
transparent.
yeah.
At this point, it's they're just I guess all we have is Robert Downey Jr. That's what it is, right? It's if they were still on top, but Marvel was, creatively floundering, and it felt like they're tap dancing, and they're Robert Downey Jr. Everybody, it's that where it's maybe if they were doing fine and this was a very strong, I think there's something fine with we're gonna bring back the actor who played the hero as the villain.
Sure.
That's not a bad idea if you've planned it in some way, but this just felt like they had meetings where they're nobody likes us anymore. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
Let's throw Robert Downey Jr. out there. Let's give him anything he wants.
Right. Because, but also, who else would play him?
Who? Victor
I mean,
Von
who
Doom?
knows?
Go
out there and look. There's probably
Isn't he from a
a million
country,
interesting
Romani?
options.
Isn't he Romani or something? Isn't he?
Yeah,
the guy from Nip Tuck. Yeah.
his right, yeah, Julian
Yeah.
McMahon.
Get
Yeah,
us excited
his
about new
mother was
casting.
Romani. At least that's part of the reason he blows his face up is she's in hell and he's trying to cast a spell to get her back. Anyway,
Sure. For me, from my perspective, as a casual Marvel fan who's just very nihilistic at this point about it, I'm sure, man. He is very charming, and I like Robert Downey Jr. I like. It's weird to say, but I'm good for him. You get more money.
it's
there,
another
Robert.
kind of Chris Evans situation, right? Because all of Robert Downey Jr.'s post-Marvel attempts haven't really been all that successful either, right?
Except for the Judge.
Sure.
Well, he was an Oppenheimer. I mean,
right, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't think
he's just off. He's right off of a very big win. But like, Doolittle was supposed to be another franchise that didn't take off.
But yeah, I just don't.
He had that other
guys,
movie
like,
with The Soloist, I think, with Jamie Foxx.
I thought that was before, but maybe not.
That was right after Iron Man.
Yeah. Speaking of Marvel, Kraven the Hunter appears to be the last Sony Marvel film. It also got, I think, the
9% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is
very exciting.
I was bummed about that. I really wanted. I loved the shitty Venom movies. I really wanted them to keep making their shitty 90s comic movies, but boy, a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes is tough to overcome. Like I was really hoping this would be fun. I was hoping it would be fun.
I don't think they're like making money to doing it, and so it's like it feels like they were doing this just for people like us who are like, keep it going.
Yeah, keep it going. Make another one. Lay another turd.
I saw a good tweet about Venom where the last Venom got like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, and someone tweeted like, everybody knows this, the lower the rating, the better a Venom movie is. Like, this just means the movie rocks.
Right, but
and
there's
it's
a certain
for the fans, yes.
There's a certain threshold though. Like if Kraven was at like a 30%, I'd be stoked.
Because like once you get to like 5%, it's boring.
Because then nobody likes it. Like it like at like a 20 or 30, like 25-30% in that area, you can be like, okay, this is probably a bad movie, but clearly, I mean, obviously this is a bad movie, but clearly some people are enjoying it, so maybe it's good bad. Particularly for a movie like Kraven, I was hoping it would be more like Venom, but that's a pretty abysmal score.
It's like. Oh, sorry. I was just saying, it's just such weird casting too. Like, I mean, him as Kraven, I just like
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Someone. Yeah, like to me, I'm like, I needed like not Tom Selleck, but more like if Tom Selleck had
hairier
an edge.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Like just like a guy like a Dan Blazarian, like he could act.
Kraven is basically an evil muscular mustache. So
yeah.
I
want to see a hairy chest on this man. I don't,
paint a Connery chest on that man.
Yeah, CGI that's got to be in your budget. And like in the comics, is Kraven like it makes him like he's like super powered. I just thought he was just like a really good hunter in the comics.
That's what I thought.
Well, he uses some magic.
Sure.
There's a little bit of jungle mysticism. I'm using air quotes. That he's like learned secrets of the jungle and can craft like these potions that will give him like. He sort of does it in Spider-Man 2, Dave. You remember you played through that game, right?
Yeah.
He can like. Anyway, he can dabble in some magic, but generally, he's just like a really beefy dude.
Yeah, I could buy that. There's some shrub that has like some like superpower, but it just makes.
Oh, right. I mean, he's probably just taking speed, right?
Yeah.
I have the reflexes of a jaguar and the strength of a rhino. No, you're just like a freight train on speed right now.
Yeah. Just like a wealthy dude who's taking some steroids.
Yeah, he likes to play in the jungle.
Yeah.
Which is really just the woods in his backyard.
I mean, I'm excited to see this on streaming.
Absolutely.
Next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're going to watch Kraven the Hunter. Yeah. But I'm bummed that they're canceling their long-planned Sinister Six movie.
I think they canceled.
This is the second Sinister Six movie they've canceled.
Sony just needs to be like, we're holding on for dear life with Spider-Man.
How are they so bad at it?
Well, I know
why can't you just make a Sinister Six movie?
I think people don't give a shit. Like, what are you going to do at this point?
You have to have Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, you have to have Spider-Man. That's it.
But
no, they're...
What's that?
They made like what, Morbius?
Yeah,
Madam Web,
and 3 Venom movies.
The problem is everyone wants. Yeah, everybody wants to be cinematic universe, right? So they look at their properties and they go, "How can we like stretch this into like 9 films, right?" And like there's people having conversations about like Nightmare on Elm Street right now, right? Being like, okay, what characters can we make? Like I think every property is like, oh, can we do like a series with just individual Harry Potter characters? Where it's like some stories are just ensembles that require these elements. Where it's like, I'm sorry, what Sony has is a Spider-Man film, right? That's what they have.
Yes.
They have Spider-Man and the villains. You can't stretch it out. You just can't. I'm sorry.
But I would
Unless you make
this...
3 Venom films. Those are great.
But like with a Craven, like the Hunter, I would like to see like a very almost like film noir, like about a man just like slowly going insane trying to hunt Spider-Man. Like that would be rad.
That's the way you could do it. I think that's how Universal figured out their monsters, where they're trying to cinematic universe that, and then they're like, well, let's just make art house or like horror movies or genre movies rather, just about these characters.
Yeah,
that is
remaking
the
classic monsters, just not necessarily from a cinematic universe perspective, but just by giving it to a director who has an idea.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like you could probably make like a Madam Web movie if you gave it to someone and just said like, yeah, just make it like a horror movie.
I don't know why they just didn't put Spider-Man in these. I mean, I know it's why.
Yeah,
I know why.
I just want to see Craven in like the shadows drinking brandy, like with his chest hair hanging out and maybe a cigar. Like this guy should be like out at night.
Drinking cheetah blood to make himself run faster.
Yeah, he's breaking a cobra in half and shotgunning it.
Why not? Speaking of chest hair, they're making another Meet the Parents.
Fuck yeah. Why not?
What is it? Meet the great grandparents. I assume Ben Stiller will be a grandparent at this point. His kid will have a kid. Is that what it would be?
It, right?
It's going to be
Who's
like Meet the
who?
Motherfuckers or something like that is what's going to be called.
It is going to be called that.
Motherfuckers, probably.
Yeah, it does have Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller. They're coming back. Don't worry, folks. It's not a reboot. I'm like, who's meeting who? Who's meeting who? That's what I want to know.
Who is there left to meet?
Because they did do the grandparent stuff, right?
Right.
It was Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers, and that was the two groups colliding.
Yeah, I mean the next one's going to be called Visit the Graves. Like that's the first. I wrote this down in the notes that the original Meet the Parents came out in October of 2000.
Oh yeah.
That was 25 years ago, just about.
All right. Listen, if we're going to drag out Robert De Niro for a new comedy, make a new Analyze This. Just put those two old bastards up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
especially now with like,
accept that.
Yeah, especially now with like The Sopranos kind of having like its anniversary, and it's just like it had like the behind the scenes and the making of with like the Alex Gibney documentary. Yeah, it's just like let's see that again.
Well, if you remember, I think the original Analyze This and The Sopranos came out in the same year.
They literally nod to each other. They do Analyze That has a Sopranos parody, and The Sopranos has a line where when Tony goes to new therapists because his first one won't see him. Yeah, where one of them references it. But yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any of these films, by the way. Should I? Okay, that's a good answer. That's a great answer.
The only thing I want to know is, and I haven't seen his name in the credits, but I always hear, living in LA, I always hear Emo Phillips was a writer on that, but I don't see his name anywhere around there.
Oh, really? On Meet the Parents?
Yeah, the original.
He might have been like an uncredited punch-up or something.
Doing punch-up, yeah.
I do like Emo Phillips and things. He's the most surprising thing to delight me in a movie or a show. Like, he's great in home movies as the bully. Like, he's a great voice actor.
Yeah, anytime he shows up.
Yeah, he's a producer of Meet the Parents. So is that why he's rich? Oh, and he was in the Weird Al movie. I didn't even notice.
The VHF?
He's in UHF, yeah.
No, Weird.
UHF.
He's in Weird.
Well, yeah, he's in Weird.
Yeah, the Yankovic story. He plays Dolly. Because of course he does. Yeah.
It's an Emo Phillips character, basically.
I'm not seeing him attached to this. But it looks like he hasn't a producing credit on the original. What a weird thing to have. It's also his only producing credit.
Maybe that's that. I mean, that's just sounds like the writing thing checks out, right?
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
The best joke Emo Phillips has, like, these construction workers called me a freaky little man in Morse code. I love that.
That is pretty
joke.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, he's great.
I mean, Take
kids
advantage
love
of
emo
my
Phillips.
sister, will you? Sure. Where is she? Anyway.
Anyway, they're making a third or fourth. How many Meet the Parents?
This would be
How
the
many
fourth
times?
one. This is the fourth one.
I don't. I guess
There was
cheap
Meet
to
the
make.
Parents, then Meet the Fockers, then Little Fockers. They're probably not cheap to make. Look at the cast.
I didn't even
Yeah.
know there's a Little Fockers.
Yeah, Little Fockers was the third
Little
one.
Fockers.
Oh,
They
wow.
they really got a lot out of that name, out of the Fockers joke. That was like a throwaway joke in the first one, which I do realize I saw the first one. I just remember being like perpetually awkward. And
Yeah,
that,
it's
like,
not
cringe
it's
way
not
where you're
bad.
like,
It's dated. I've seen it within the last maybe 5 or 7 years. It's still like it does play on that premise really well of how it's just so awkward and terrible and he just
See,
can't do anything right.
I didn't like that era, that Ben Stiller is awkward era. It just made me like, it just like there was nothing funny to me about it. Where I was like, you're just making me sort of cringe.
Yeah, I think like I said, it's a bit dated. It's got the I guess it smacks of that era of comedy because like
Yeah.
like it is funny, but also like her family is sort of and Robert De Niro are sort of unreasonably hostile to Ben
Yeah,
Stiller.
and it's that thing where Ben Stiller's also doing a bunch of like weird lies where you're
Right,
like those things where
unnecessary
it's like,
lies,
just say the
like,
thing.
yeah,
it's I would argue parodied in the increasingly poor decisions of Todd Argret. That
right,
show.
like yeah, that's of a total scumbag
Yeah.
situation.
That's
That's in like that world of like Wedding Crashers. They all came out at like the same time, and they all have like these like I'm gonna double down on some weird lie, and it's like ugh.
right.
Like,
It's
I can't
like
stand
It's
those
a
movies.
very very old trope, but yeah,
yeah,
man.
But the 90s and 2000 where it's like, yeah, character finds a bra, they hold it up to be like, what's this? And a character walks in and it thinks like, oh, are you putting on that bra? And they're
yeah.
like, oh no, I was just thinking about my dead wife. And then it's like, and then they have to make up their dead wife. And it's like, just say like, hey, I found this bra. What's the deal? You know, like, it's just like, it's not, it's people, everybody is like a fucking alien all of a sudden, those
Right.
movies.
It's
Anyway.
like a type of
Conclusion
farce,
jumps
but
to
anyway.
Yeah, there's a place for it if they do it right.
It was.
but-
It just. Yeah. It was.
rarely is it
It
done
got
right.
very popular in the 90s.
yeah.
It felt like anyway. Should we name
You
some more
want to thank some more
producers?
producers?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Big old thank you to musical guest Rob Ritchie. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you to Norm
well
from
done,
Cheers.
Dave. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not going to do the voice. Thank you to Numino Ultra Microscopic Silico Volcanoconiosis Anti-Disestablishmentarianism Jones. Thank you
you.
very much. Thank you to Psychic Bigfoot.
Thank you.
Thank you to Pumpkin Spiced Ed Nog. Thank you.
Delicious.
Thank you to Rev MD.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Ricky Cilantro.
Thank you.
Thank you to Robert.
Thanks.
Thank you to Rosemary's Baby from Eraserhead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to Screaming Horse Pyramid.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to Sorry Cop, world's most laughable centrist.
Thank you.
Thank you to Steven.
Thank you.
Thank you to the conveniently placed self-destruct button on the top of every baby's head. Thank you.
So convenient. So placed. Let me jump in here. Thank you to the Midnight Patron with patrons at midnight.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Municipal Medicinal Arsonist.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Oatmeal Savage.
Thank you.
Thank you to the To Be Terror Bunny thinks you could use more Rutger Hauer in your media diet.
Thank you.
Thank you to these 7 Bs.
Thank you.
Thank you to Tiger Drawers Pratt Thompson. Raindrops keep falling on my head.
Beautiful.
Thank you to Tip Drizzle.
Tip.
Thank you to Tom's Baby is neat.
Thank you.
She's pretty neat. Thank you to Tux.
Tux.
Thank you to Vincent.
Thank you.
Thank you to Will Rhymes with Bill or Bill Rhymes with Will.
Thank you.
Thank you to Yorgos from the island of Crete.
Thank you.
And thank you to your mom. Your
Whew.
mom.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Gosh, man. Dave,
Yeah.
I feel like I've run a marathon.
Yeah.
But the only
Hype
thing
marathon.
that will cool me down now is a cool, refreshing bottle of a movie that deserves more hype. Just
Ooh.
poured all over my face.
I got one in my pocket.
My
Yeah, I
eager
got one in
waiting
my pocket.
face.
Yeah. Just slop it on you.
Yeah,
Slop this
do
movie
you?
That deserves more hype. I have one.
What luck!
I know. And what's wild is this movie came out like a day ago.
You mean it's already out? We can watch it
already
now?
out. That's the good news. The bad news is on Screambox, and I don't know what that is yet.
I've seen it around.
Yeah. This is called Deus Irae. Deus Irae. It's what is that? Latin?
Yeah, it means angry
I'm
god.
guessing. Oh.
Wow.
Cool. Tom knows Latin.
Well, I mean,
Everybody.
Deus. I had to look
Latin
up
by
Irae.
heart. It came out. Seems a little silly, but that's kind of what I like about it. It's like it's about exorcists, a group of priests who are like gritty exorcists, who have to fight evil. You have to be evil. There's that vibe. I only found like one review of it, despite the pull quotes in the trailer, because I realized the pull quotes in the trailer are actually taken from reviews, people talking about their teaser. So I was like, you cheated. But the reviews I did find quite liked it. It's like a gritty cop movie, but demons, basically. It's like a main priest who's addicted to heroin, has heroin in his cross, I believe. Like, it's fucking good and cruel intentions. Fighting demons with guns. Apparently, there's guns in there. And weirdly, it's less cheesy than I'm making it out to be. The trailer actually looks kind of creepy, and the reviews sort of say it's creepy. It's got a lot of practical effects, apparently, puppetry, makeup, and it looks pretty gnarly.
I was about to say it looks gnarly.
According to the filmmakers, the quote, the purpose of the film was to use the powerful visual and mythological role that Christianity has in the Latin American imagery and slowly pervert it. Because I believe this was made, I forget where it was made, let me look, but I believe it was made in Latin America.
And there's a shot in the film where it's almost like it looks like the Jesus on the
Jesus statue comes to life.
Yeah, the Jesus comes, and I'm like, that fucking is a crazy, spooky looking image. Like that,
right.
And it's like in shadow, and it's like really well done. I'm like, oh, this actually looks creepy.
That's when it got me. That's when the trailer got me. I was like,
oh
shit.
That was a huge scene. Yeah, it's. I guess it's a little body horror. It's just weird because the way I'm describing it, people are going to be like, "That sounds dumb." Like I watched the Exorcist TV show and I turned it off in the first episode when one of the priests pulled out a gun on the other priest. So I was just like, I wish this was done here.
All set
What's
here.
the matter with you? Get that exorcism, see?
Yeah. But this is like, it looks truly haunting, the trailer, and then you read the premise and you're like, what? All right, like
I am stunned that that's the premise for this movie, because the trailer just looks like this really intense, dark, graphic Catholic horror movie. Really gnarly.
But if you're playing with like this person being an addict, that could be kind of cool. I don't know if it does that, but you know what I'm saying, where it's like, oh, is he imagining his stuff? Is he going through withdrawals? Is that his weakness, or is it just like, we're just using this as some kind of weird like device?
Right. It's weird to say. I don't know. So it sounds like it's about what they're willing to do. Like the synopsis says,
right, to fight war you have to become war.
Exactly. The synopsis again sounds cheesy. It says when the only way to crush evil is by becoming something even worse, he questions how much of his own humanity or sanity he's willing to sacrifice in order to defeat the devil. It's like, that sounds dumb in a good way.
Yeah.
And then you watch the trailer and you're like, wait, is this like just regular good? Like, is this like, this looks haunting? Like, so I also, apparently it's told in this really like fractured way that's a bit out of order. Like I saw one review of someone who was like, I couldn't follow it well because it was told out of order. And so it sounds like somewhat like, this sounds just super fucking weird. And it looks good. The trailer, at least, looks really good. So everybody should,
It looks like it'll be upsetting.
Yeah.
It looks good, but it's like I was just watching the opening scene of The Exorcist recently, and I think what lacks in a lot of these devil films is like just like this foreboding kind of like what's going to go on. Like in the beginning of The Exorcist, if you remember, like it's Max von Sydow. He drives. He's like in Iraq
in the
or something.
desert. Yeah.
Yeah. He drives up and he just sees a statue, and it's just so creepy and weird. And it just makes you go. I mean, besides like there's like a 2-shot that's kind of goofy looking, but beyond that, it's just like this kind of like you could just tell that something crazy is going to happen, and like the dogs are fighting, and it's just like it has that 70s kind of like graininess to the film, and
it just feels
kind
very
of unsettling,
ominous, like a lot of dread.
Yeah.
The Omen does a lot of similar things to that.
Yeah, but it's just like it starts out in such like slow space versus like, oh, we gotta pound you with like this crazy imagery and these jump scares. It's like, no, it's like sometimes like just letting these films build. It's like they just don't do that with the like exorcism films.
Right, and I love a good spiritual horror. And this, I don't know, this seems like somewhere in between that.
Like
this doesn't seem very subtle.
Fucking gore fest.
Yeah, this looks like a fucking. This looks like Evil Dead.
Yeah, it looks intense, man. I'm on board for this.
Yep, Deus Irae.
I think IRAE.
Yeah, whatever that means. Whatever that means. Everybody, check it out. Get out of bed, groan, and subscribe to yet another service called Screambox.
Yep.
And there it is.
Carve another piece of your soul out.
Yeah.
And toss it to the corporate wolves.
Oh, stop it. Stop it, everybody.
I love having so many subscriptions, man.
You know what else is on Screambox, Tom?
What's that?
Werewolves.
Hell yes.
Yep.
The Frank Grillo werewolves?
Yep.
Oh man.
Gonna have to get it.
We have to get Screambox now so we can watch werewolves on a Friday night. But speaking of movies and Friday nights, which this is, we are done. That's a sode. We've done it.
We did it.
Woo!
Rich, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, man.
At the end of all things, do you want to plug some stuff again? You want to remind people where they can find you?
Yeah, guys, if you after your movies, if you want to have some, talks about food, learn about some food, maybe some food pairings, come to Cheese Us on YouTube.
Cheese it up. Is that your motto? Cheese it up.
Cheese it up.
Do you say that?
It could be. I don't say it at all, but I think I could incorporate that as a good tagline.
Yeah, it's my free motto for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
cheese
check that out. Yeah, there you go. If you like cheese. And I like cheese. Like I'm very excited to check this out.
You are an avowed.
I want to know
cheese
beyond like cheese. What is in your fridge? What do you?
I know you do
liking?
other cheese stuff, but that's when I'm going to be commenting and being like, "Boo, more cheese! Give me cheese."
What's in your fridge right now? That's what I want to know. I didn't hear that.
Oh, my fridge?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just horrifying in there. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, we shouldn't really disclose any. Yeah. Maybe some incriminating information.
Well, no, it's just food, but it is incriminating. Just in the it's not great in there. It's bleak. It's real bleak in there.
Like when Sigourney
Doing
Weaver's refrigerator was haunted by Zool.
Yeah. It's exactly like that.
Yep.
Listen, folks. We have a Patreon. Patreon.com/gamefully
haunted by apple cider vinegar.
Yeah. Patreon.com/gamefully unemployed. We have exclusive podcasts on there like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder's Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, Spiel Boys. We watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. That's tonight, Friday the 13th. So come join us. Come hang out. It'll be fun.
We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. You can find a link to our Teespring store. We have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. So check that out.
Yes.
Follow our new show, Batical. It's our interview improv podcast about a fighting game that never existed.
Or did it?
Was it in the same alternate reality where with all the different Ray Fiennes?
Exactly.
Into the Fiennes-averse.
The multi-Fiennes-verse.
Into the Fiennes-verse. There you go. Much better.
Yes. My mind is swimming now with ideas.
Just thinking about cheese, honestly.
A cheese Ray Fiennes?
There is a cheese Fiennes.
Yeah, there's gotta be. I would eat
Wow, in
him.
some universe, there
Take
he
a bite
is.
right out of his face.
It's like Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's got googly eyes and his hairline, but it's
Be like
unmistakably
Hannibal Lecter.
Ray Fiennes in block of cheese form.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds delicious. All right.
All right.
I guess we can say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at artistbyjustinbrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at starlenearts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.